Hello, welcome to all. In this video, we are going to discuss about tax invoice, credit note, debit notes in continuation with the last class. That is, now we are discussing about some special cases. That is, when will be revised tax invoice to be issued in respect of taxable supplies affected during this period. Here, first of all, when will be revised the tax invoice? First, we will see the effective date of registration and date of issuance of certificate of registration. So we will see the effective date of registration and date of issuance of certificate of registration. Here for tax invoice shall be included any revised invoices. We will see whichever is earlier will be taken. That is effective date of registration or date of issuance of certificate of registration, and after that consolidated revised invoice may be issued in respect of taxable supplies made to unregistered recipient during this period, where in between of effective date of registration and date of issuance of certificate of registration, if there is any supplies, then you can issue a consolidated revised tax invoice relating to unregistered recipient, and here they provided that revised tax invoice to be issued in respect of taxable supplies affected during this period, effective date of registration or date of issuance of certificate of registration. Okay, for example, say seventh example, Sarahabai Private Limited commenced business of supply of goods on 1st April. In Delhi. Its turnover exceeded the applicable threshold limit. Applicable threshold applicable turnover exceeded on 3rd September. So it is liable for registration under GST. Next, thus it becomes liable to registration on 3rd September. Within 30 days, he is required to get the registration application. Thus, it became liable for registration on 3rd. From 3rd to 30 days, it applied registration 29th September. So, it is applied within date of registration, within date of specified time, and was granted registration certificate on 5th October. So, here, even though the certificate was issued on 5th October, but that registration certificate effective from 3rd September will be treated as 3rd September because from the liability of registration they have applied within time limit. If they are not applied within time limit, then the effective registration will be taken date of certificate of registration. That is related to this information. And consolidated in tax invoices, that is where the persons may issue in respect of taxable supplies made to unregistered recipient, then during this period we may issue the consolidated tax payer. For what amount means in case interstate supplies consolidated revised tax invoice cannot be issued in respect of all unregistered recipients if the value of supply exceeds 2,50,000. The amount is exceeds 2,50,000, that is interstate supplies, then you will not issue the consolidated invoice. Next, particulars of revised tax invoice. What is the tax invoice particulars is there? That is same as a same invoice only. There is no that much of information. Next, where consolidated tax invoices, section 74, section 129, 130, that is related to other sections. We will discuss on that chapters. Here what is included, what is consolidated in consolidated information. Here where tax invoices is not required to be issued when where value of goods or services, supply of goods or services, where that value will be less than 200, or recipient is unregistered person, or recipient does not require such invoices. This all information will not require to be issued tax invoice. So you must consolidate these invoices on at closure of each day in respect of all such supplies. What are the such supplies? That is value of supply less than 200 rupees, recipient is unregistered person, or recipient does not require such invoices. In this case, you are not required to issue tax invoice, and you must consolidate this invoices at closure of end each day for each day. Thus, small taxpayers like small retailers doing large number of small transactions up to value of 200 rupees per transaction to unregistered person, they is not required to issue a tax invoice. Next, bill of supply. Bill of supply. What is this bill of supply? Where there is a registered person supplies exempted goods or services or both, or paying tax under composition scheme, then he is not required to issue tax invoice, he is required to issue bill of supply. This is related to bill of supply. Next, particulars of bill of supply. It is the same as invoice only, that much of information is not required. Example, Patel and Sons is manufacturer of goods who opted for composition scheme under section 10(1) and 10(2), that is 10(1), 10(2). It will issue bill of supply to the buyers of goods and not the tax invoice. Yes, he is a composition person, so he will issue the bill of supply. Or if any person supplying exempted goods, then also issue the bill of supply only. Tax invoice will not be issued. Next, receipt voucher. Here receipt voucher, where supplier receipt voucher, supplier receives any advance payment from recipient, then receipt voucher will be issued by the supplier. So here supplier and recipient, supplier is receiving any advance amount, for that amount is providing receipt voucher. So I am the person, I have received the recipient, I have received the amount, so that amount will be receipt voucher will be issued at this time. But here where chapter credit note, sorry, what happened here, mention recovery, this is chapter number I think 10th, that is we are discussing about 10th chapter, no, 10th chapter. Come on, okay, just a second. Okay, continue. Where at the time of receipt of advance, rate of tax and nature of supply is not determinable. Where you are not determinable. Where at the time of receipt of advance, here rate of tax is not determinable, then tax rate will be taken as 18%. You are not determinable tax. For example, you are a supplier and recipient is one person is there, and you are supplying goods regularly, and that regular goods, now we are going to supply some products, we don't know the rate, means we are providing different type of rates, so we do not know at the time of advance which product he requires, so we are getting only advance amount. At the time you are required to tax shall be paid at the rate of 18%. Next, nature of supply is not determinable. Then it will be treated as interstate supply. If tax rate is not determinable, go for 18%. If supply is not determinable, then it will be treated as interstate supply. IGST will be leviable. Next, refund voucher. Here, refund voucher. What is there in refund voucher? In supplier in last case, supplier receive the advance and issue the receipt voucher. That is first case, and now supply was not made, so tax invoice is not required, so whatever he has received the amount, he will refund. Then whenever he is refunding that amount, he will issue the refund voucher to the recipient. This is refund voucher related information. Next, Invoice and payment voucher. Invoice and payment voucher means here first one payment voucher. Payment voucher where recipient is registered. Where recipient is registered. Receive the supplies taxable on reverse charge basis. Receive the supplies taxable on reverse charge basis. Then under section 9.3 or under section 9.4. Under section 9.3 or under section 9.4. What is there in under section 9.3 and under section 9.4? There are some specified services. 9.3 I think e-commerce operator. 9.4 I think it is import of service by the promoter. Next 9.4, if the person received supplier is unregistered person. Supplier is unregistered person. And in case of section 9.3, supplier is registered person or supplier is unregistered person. Whatever it may be the case, recipient will issue payment voucher at the time of making payment to supplier. What is the concept of payment voucher? Here there is payment voucher where recipient is registered person. And is paying the payment wherever the supplier will supply the goods and receive the amount, where the recipient is receive the goods and make the payment. At the time of making the payment, he must issue the payment voucher where the supply involves reverse charge basis, and as per section 9.3 and 9.4, where in case of section 9.3 supplier register or unregistered, there must be required for payment voucher. In case of section 9.4 supplier is unregistered person, then payment voucher will be issued. That is the case they are provided here. 9.4 was related to biller or promoter. 9.3 related to some reverse charge basis. 9.3 unregistered person supply is provided. Next, invoice to be issued by recipient if he is liable to pay tax under 9.3. Payment voucher, all the payment voucher related information. Next, delivery challan, or in this case we will miss the information. No, so, okay, we will not discuss about invoice. We will discuss about payment voucher. Now invoice, when we will issue the invoice, where recipient is registered person. Here receive supplies taxable under reverse charge mechanism, same as above case what we discussed above, same. And here section 9.3 and section 9.4 will discuss it. And in case of section 9.3 and in case of section 9.4, where supplier is unregistered person, then recipient shall issue the invoice. So in case of payment voucher, as per section 9.3, supplier registered or unregistered, when you are paying the payment, you must issue the payment voucher. In case of invoice, only the supplier is unregistered person, then only you are required to issue the invoice. That is the case of invoice related information, payment voucher and invoice related information. Next, delivery challan. What is there in delivery challan? This is related to delivery challan, where supply of liquid gas, where the quantity at the time of removal from the place of business of supply is not known, then we will issue the delivery challan. What are the particulars is there? And in case of transportation of goods, job work related information, then also we are required to issue the delivery challan. And other than by way of supplies, transportation of goods by way of supply, then issue the delivery challan. And such other supplies as may be notified by the board, then also required for issue the bill of supply. This is related to delivery challan. In 4 cases we will issue the delivery challan. Bill of supply related to that composition person and exempted person related case, and delivery challan is where you are sending goods to principal place of business to branch, or where the quantity of the time of removal from the place of business of the supplier is not known, then at that time, and transportation of job work related and transportation of goods for reason other than by way of supply or supply other than notified by the board. If notified by the board, then we will require to issue delivery challan. Delivery challan in triplicate. In case of original copy will be consignee and duplicate copy for transporter and triplicate copy for consignor, and declaration in e-way bill where it is required you will be provide that delivery challan in e-way bill also. Next, tax invoice to be issued after delivery of goods where the goods being transported are for the purpose of supply to the recipient, but tax invoice could not be issued at the time of removal. For example, from principal place of business to job workplace, the goods is moving. Then we will issue the delivery challenge. From job workplace to goods going to customer place, then we are required to issue the invoice. That is the case. Next, good transported in SKD, CKD. That is semi knocked down or completely knocked down conditions. Here, what is this? The supplier shall issue the complete invoice before dispatch of first consignment. The supplier shall issue a delivery challan for each of the subsequent consignment giving reference to the invoice, and copies of corresponding delivery challan shall accompany each consignment along with duly certified copy of the invoice, and original copy of invoice shall be sent along with last consignment. So, in case of first consignment, you are issue the complete invoice before dispatch, and the supplier where you will issue the subsequent consignment, then we will issue the delivery challan, and for each consignment we will issue the delivery challan only. For the last consignment we will issue the invoice, that is original copy invoices where the goods transported semi knocked down or completely knocked down conditions. Next, that is in batches or lots we are providing. For example, we are sending 5 lorries of goods. 1 lorry was going. First 1 lorry is going. Here the supplier shall issue the complete invoice before dispatch of first consignment. Next, first 1 lorry was went there and 4 lorries is pending. That is semi knockdown. Completely knocked down when all the lorries were completed where they went their place. Here, next, for the second lorry you will issue the delivery challan. For third lorry you will issue the delivery challan, and fourth lorry you will issue the delivery challan, and fifth lorry, that is last consignment, you will issue the invoice, that is original copy of invoice will be issued. In first place only complete invoice will be provided, first lorry. Next, goods may be moved within the state from the state of registration to another state of supply on a approval basis, and artwork may be sent by artists to galleries for exhibition on delivery challan along with e-way bill wherever applicable. Supplier of jewelry etc. who are registered in one state may have to visit other states. This is like only example. Next, supply is permitted to issue any documents other than tax invoice. May issue any other documents issued in respect of supply shall be deemed to be tax invoice only. Tax invoice may not be issued. Next, supplier of taxable services where insurance, banking, financial institutions including NBFCs. Optional information, some are mandatory information in the document of tax invoice. It is not much important. Next, we will discuss in case of tax invoice, in case of ISD, it will same information only, and we must produce the information related to address of GST and consequent serial number they must provide, and multiple series and date of issue and amount of credit distributed. That all information will be provided for ISD invoice. Next, here the main important section 34, that is credit note and debit note information. What is there in credit note and debit note? Issuance of credit note. When will we issue the credit note? Here the credit note will be issued when one or more tax invoices has issued for supply of any goods or services or both. Where you are the person, you are in trade or commerce, you are already issued the tax invoices, where one or more tax invoices are already issued relating to supply for any goods or services or both. Now now the taxable value in invoice greater than taxable value in respect of such supply, that is, supplier has erroneously declared a value which is more than actual value of goods services. So you are declared the one value, but actual supply is greater than, then you will issue the credit note. Or tax charges, you are charged one amount, but actually tax payable uh, tax payable is greater than tax charged tax charged in invoice greater than tax payable in respect of such a supply, then you are required to issue credit note. And in case of quantity received by the recipient is less than what has been declared in tax invoice, you are shown in tax invoice 10 items, but recipient received 5 items, recipient issue 5 items, so that 5 items will issue the credit note. Next, the quality of goods or services or both supplied is not to the satisfaction of the recipient, thereby the expectation is more by the your recipient. So you have sent then 10 cards, for some cards are some defective, so some cards are some defective. He is asking for, sir, it is not good for sale, what can I do? He tell, I will provide the credit note, you can enjoy the credit. The supplier will tell that the information and any other similar reasons. So here what is the 4 cases is there? One good is taxable value greater than taxable value in invoice, greater than taxable value in respect of supply. Taxable value was greater than in taxable value in respect to such supply. Or tax charged in invoice greater than tax payable in respect of such supply, or where goods are returned by the recipient, if your recipient is goods returned, then, or where goods or services are both supplied or found to be deficient, so there is not deficiency. In this case you must issue the credit note. Next, here register supplier of goods or services or both may issue for above transactions one or more credit note for supplies made in a financial year. So you may issue one or more invoices, credit note invoices, recipient of goods or services. There is no compulsion for issuing the one credit note for one person, two credit note for two persons, that not like. They may issue any number, may issue one or more credit note for supplies made in a financial recipient of goods or services or both. That is related to credit note. Credit note 4 cases was taxable value in invoice greater than taxable value in respect of such supply, or tax charged in invoice greater than tax payable in respect of such supply, or where goods are supplied or returned by the recipient, or where goods or services both supplied or found to be deficient. In these 4 cases we will issue the credit note. They may issue any number of credit notes. Next, debit note. In the above case we are seeing the greater than. Now here we will see the less than, where one or more tax invoice have been issued. Already you must issue the tax invoice, then only we will issue the debit note or credit note. If you are not issued any tax invoice, we will not provide the directly credit note or debit note. We must issue one tax invoice, then only in respect to that invoice we are providing this debit note or credit notes. Here what is there in debit notes? Taxable value in invoice less than taxable value in respect of such supply, or tax charged in invoice less than tax payable in respect of such supply. This is related to debit note. And quantity received is more than what has been declared in tax invoice. Next, any other similar reasons. Here, registered supplier of goods or services or both may issue one or more debit note for supplies made during the year, and debit note shall include supplementary invoices also include the debit note only. And here recipient of goods or services may take any number of debit note also. This is related to debit note and credit note information, and details what is the details is required for maintain the in debit note and credit note, they are provided. Debit note invoices information not required. Next, prohibition of unauthorized collection of tax. Section 32. A person who is not a registered person, if you are not a registered person, who are not collect to tax in respect of any supply of goods or services or both any amount by way of tax under this act, no registered person shall collect tax except in accordance with the provisions of this act or rules made thereunder. For example, Rajuta is engaged in providing grooming services. She is not registered under GST. So he is providing grooming services. He is not registered in GST and his turnover below the threshold limits. Rujita cannot collect the tax on grooming services provided by her, as a person who is not a registered person cannot collect any tax amount by way of tax under this act in respect of any supply of goods or services. That is section 32. Next, section 33. Amount of tax to be indicated in tax invoice and other document. Section 33. What is there? Nothing, notwithstanding anything contained in this act or any other law for the time being in force, where any supply is made for consideration, every person who is liable to pay tax for such supply shall prominently indicate all documents relating to assessment, tax invoice and other like documents. The amount of tax shall form part of price at which the supply is made. That is related to section 33. Here we will discuss mainly for debit note, credit note and payment voucher, refund voucher and receipt voucher. These all are vouchers related information. Revise the tax invoice. Next, here one example is there now. Date of supply 1/7/2020. Date of return 29/2021. So treatment in terms of tax liability and creditor. So where goods was returning, credit note will be issued by the supplier, and same to be uploaded by him on the common portal. Subsequently, tax liability can be adjusted by such supplier provided the recipient has either no ITC was availed, or if he availed, he must revert that ITC. Where you are providing credit note, you must not take the ITC, or you are take the ITC, you must revert the ITC whenever you get the credit note. Next, if you are getting credit note, you must revert the ITC 1/7/2020, 20/10/21. Credit note will be issued by the supplier, but there is no requirement to upload the same on the common portal. Subsequently, tax liability cannot be adjusted by the supplier.